And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the Smoker Show. Good evening, Phil. How you doing, my friend?
Hello, my friend Dimitri. How are you?
I can't believe we're in Season 3 of the Smoker Show, man. I can't believe it.
Season 3, man. That's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And you know what? Remember when we left Season 2, and I said to everybody, I said, please contact us with ideas.
I remember that.
And show suggestions for Season 3. Nothing.
I
think there was one. To be fair.
I get that vapors get tired of listening, especially for newbie stuff and all that. And I get it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But we would love suggestions. Just put them down under the replay of this video here, or email us or contact us on Facebook. Just stuff that you would like to see. Today we're going to be bringing you some new science. As the science evolves, we like to bring it to you here on the show, and then kind of analyze it a little bit more in plain English, so smokers and vapors alike can understand what this developing science that's surrounding vaping, and as this new information is coming out. We'll be talking a little bit about some science today, and then we're going to be talking about the Master Settlement Agreement, again, in some plain terms. I know I've talked about the MSA, and you hear it on the show all the time, whether it be here or the DP show. So we're going to dive into that just a little bit, so you can get a general idea why all this science I'm going to present to you today is not taken into consideration from our government here. And then the world premiere of the Kroma Z Part of the platform series manufactured by Innokin, designed by yours truly and the wonderful, robust, creamy 𝗵𝗶𝗀.
You know, this is the first time we're doing anything like this.
Yes.
The first time, because the video is actually up. It's in YouTube. There is an edit though. The version here does not announce the contest wieners for
Yes.
the last 2 contests, but the video that's up on YouTube, as soon as this show is done, I'm going to release that, and that'll have the contest wieners in it. But there is a new contest in the video that you'll see tonight.
Speaking of contests and winners, did you have a good week? Did you have a good past week? How was your week?
Are you talking about like a vape week?
No, just in general, and just in life. It's been tough being locked up, all the time,
Well, what do you mean by a week? Are you talking about from Sunday to today?
Yes.
Or are you talking about last week?
No, from last week to today.
The last week was horrible.
How about this week?
This week's better.
It's better. All right, let me boost up your volume a little bit. I'm a little bit higher than you.
Did my volume change? Did it change?
It's probably my new microphone. We're balancing right there. Don't worry.
You always do that. Hold on.
Don't worry. It's all good. No, don't do anything.
It's fine.
Don't do anything. I'm gonna fix it right now, and Bill's gonna tell me everything's. Oh, by the way, everything is running. We are broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and Pornhub. All 4 are actually live right now. The telephone lines, 215-383-5752. You can call in if you have any questions or comments during tonight's broadcast, or just to talk to me and Phil. That would be nice. Bill says it's better there. Okay. I bought a new microphone. I mean, you noticed that obviously today, so I'm still playing with the settings, but it's looking now on my board that we're balanced out.
Okay. You sound fabulous, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You know what? It makes me a little bit cranky. It pisses me off. I mean, for like a year, you bitched at me about my microphone. You're like talking about your microphone all the time. I went out, I bought your microphone, and you changed your mic.
The Audio-Technica 2020 served me very well, but I've had that microphone for over 5 years, Phil. 5 years. And I'm like you. I'll do a lot of research before I buy something. This just came out this year, so it's a fairly new microphone. I think it came out in the last 6 months. It's been sold out constantly, obviously, because it's a $100 mic, but it's really, really good. And it's made by Rode, and it's like a smaller version of their Procaster, which is like a bigger microphone, but it works really well. And for $100, you can't beat it. And I like the fact that you can see my face now.
Yeah.
Right? So
I was going to say that.
It works at a 45-degree angle.
Once you got it, of course, I had to go research it a little bit. I was surprised, a little cheap. Yeah. I was surprised how inexpensive it was.
Yeah.
I like the size of it. I like the fact that you're talking in the front, the front of it, as opposed to the side of it, like the Audio-Technica.
Yeah.
And what I really like about it, it has the pop filter built in.
Yes.
Right. So that right there removes a lot of space from the mic.
Right? I got an extra pop filter just in case if I need to do like some deep sensual voiceovers.
For Pornhub, we are broadcasting live on Pornhub.
We are on Pornhub as well too.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I just want to share this with our viewers, and we consider our viewers our friends. So, I had a really interesting weekend. One of my riding buddies that we ride out with a motorcycle invited me to go on an 1.5-hour trip up through the mountains to Petros, Tennessee. Never heard of Petros, Tennessee ever in my life. It's just past Knoxville. And we visited this place called Brushy Mountain Penitentiary. So it's a prison, a federal prison that operated for 110 years, right? And then in 2009, due to some politics or whatever, the prison got shut down, and they moved all the prisoners to the Nashville, to the other prison in Morristown, which is like 10 miles away. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But I just wanted to share some of the photos if you'd like to see them. I just wanted to share some of the photos of that I took over there, because I found some really, really interesting stuff. Let me make sure I get the right photos up and not the ones that are of you.
I would love to see the photos.
Naked.
Please.
Why did that get stuck there? Where's my mouse? Photos. Where's my mouse? Okay. I lost my mouse between 4 screens. Let me put it right here. And then what we need to do is, why can't I?
Any second now, we're going to see the photos of Dimitris' ride to the prison, to the penitentiary.
Yeah, but I don't know why I have to open them up into. Oh, here we go. Oh, let me do this.
Here we go.
Let me move the Dropbox on this side.
Here we go.
I have to do that.
I want to say hello to 𝗍𝗵𝗶𝗀, both of those people.
Okay, so here we go. This is the. I mean, just looking at it, it's a little bit scary. You know what
It
I'm
is.
saying? I mean, it's a little bit eerie just looking at it. That's not the right picture. That's not the right picture either.
Be careful. Don't share any of your Pornhub
No.
photos.
All right, there's the bikes that we went up with, and this is the entrance going inside the prison. I mean, you know, the barbed wire, everything is still there, right? You can go inside and see the cells. You can see everything, you know, cafeteria. And man, I mean, look at this. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? This is the laundry room, right? You can see the press there in the front, Phil. You know,
Yep.
it's you know, that's probably where people were, you know, they'd put their heads in there and squeeze it. On average, over 110 years, 10 people a year died there, right? Stabbings. And we talked to one of the people that was actually a prisoner there. Now he's given tours. And he'd show us like the places where people would get stabbed and all that. But man, it was absolutely nuts. I would love for you next time that you come here. This is some of the stuff that was in the museum people collected. The reason why I bring this up, I want to show you something really, really cool.
Okay.
So there's an iron claw. They used to beat people. This is shackles. They have whips. This is because, you know, this was back in the 1800s as well too. So, you know, there's a lot of slavery. They put him to work and all kinds of stuff here.
By the way, those last two photos, Dimitri used those exact items on me the last trip that we went on. I just want everybody to know that.
I like having a prison choking device. This is my favorite. I saw this. I thought it was a vape.
It's not?
I was like, it's a marijuana pot pipe that was constructed by the prisoners with stuff that they found inside the prison, which was really cool. Here's some of the paraphernalia, like how they put it in books, you know, drugs and needles and stuff like that.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Here's some homemade guns that were made inside the prison. This is some more stuff that, you know, they found inside, assorted stuff that they found inside. This is a collection of shivs that they collected over the years. All those were made, you know, by spoons. They used to cut their the metal from their bunk beds and make knives out of it, rulers, all kinds of weird stuff like that. I took some really cool pictures. Look at it. That's really eerie. This is a 4-story building. This is me going inside. I'll show you the inside. This is the bottom floor, okay? And this is like a wide angle. It's a 4-story, so they've got cages, obviously, so people are not thrown on top, because they used to do that. And then eventually they put cages because they used to throw people from up top. Really interesting fact I'll show you here in just a little bit. Here's some more pictures from there. This is the shower. There's 2 shower heads for that entire block. And it's just out in the open. So you had to come out of your cell and come to the shower head, which is on the same floor. It's not like in a different building. I found that really, really interesting. This is the cafeteria where they used to cook. This is one of the cells. You can see it's a bunk bed, a little desk, a crapper back there in the right corner, and the sink on the left. They used to have these cells open where people could go inside, but now they're all locked. So I asked the guy there, I was like, why can't I wanted to go inside and take a picture, you know, I mean, obviously. And he said, I was like, people steal stuff? He's like, no. He's like, the reason why we shut it down is people, are you ready for this, Phil?
Yeah.
People used to go inside and use the toilets. And there's no water in the building. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to go into a prison and use the fucking crapper and then stop me from taking a wonderful picture inside the cell?
Yeah, pretty stupid.
This is on the 2nd floor here. I mean, it's really, really interesting. Here's where this is the picture of Earl James. This is the guy that killed Martin Luther King. He had a bunch of, they moved him around a lot because a lot of people wanted to kill him, especially the black prisoners, obviously. But this was one of the cells that he stayed in, which I found really, really cool. And here's another shot of it from the other side, from the inside. I mean, just look at that hallway, man. Can you imagine? I was like, oh my God, it's just crazy.
That shot right there. Go back.
Okay.
Go back. That shot right there really reminds me of Jesus. Come on, Phil.
Alcatraz.
Huh?
Alcatraz?
Yeah. Alcatraz. Yeah. Alcatraz. When I went to Alcatraz, that shot looks almost exactly like a spot in Alcatraz.
Man, it was eerie. This is a picture. I found this in a cell. Like, this guy was counting down, obviously. They say usually the people that went to this prison didn't get out very, very early. There was a lot of lifetimers and a lot of death row inmates. They didn't kill people there. They moved them to the other facility to kill them, but they kept death row people there in the D block, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. There's some more graffiti art that I found was really interesting. So there's the D block. This is another building that's behind the main prison, and this is where they kept all the high-risk people and the death row inmates and stuff like that. So all these are individual cells. They don't allow 2 people in here. It's just one person. And it has little cages out in the back where they'd let him go and get in the cage and work out for 30 minutes a day. That's it. 23 and a half hours that were locked down here. And then 30 minutes a day, they'd put him in the cage in the back. I found this really, somebody had painted a Dale Earnhardt sign on there, the number 3. So I just took a picture. Oh, I'm almost done. I know this has nothing to do with the Smoker Show, but I'm just sharing it with my friends. There's the little cages. So they take you out of your cell and put you in that cage to work out. It has some bars down there. You can do some chin-ups, and stuff like that. And this is the outside of that you couldn't see. So this is a big picture of the yard, like the main yard where they'd let the prisoners out during the day. That's a shuffleboard thing in the middle that you see there, but it's surrounded by mountains. When Earl James escaped, because he escaped once, he ran for like 8.5 miles, and he was still in the woods, and he was exhausted. And eventually, the police caught him. But not a lot of people were able to escape because it's so engulfed in the mountains that it's very, very hard to get away from. Look at that shot right there. If that doesn't tell you anything right there, I don't know what will. And that's me. Is that a cool shot? Tell me that's not a cool shot. Have you seen anything cooler than that?
It's almost like the bike matches the deep blue of the sky.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what filters would do. But anyway, that was my experience at.
It'd be fun going there and staying overnight and recording all the ghosts.
They do it. They have paranormal. They have paranormal adventures. My wife wants to do it. It's not my thing, but I mean, if they have paranormal adventures. These 2 smart businessmen from Chattanooga bought this place and they made it into a museum. They sell moonshine. They have a restaurant there. They do events. They do parties and stuff like that. I don't know why I don't know why anybody would want to get married there, but they do that as well too. And they have this big stage out in the back where they do concerts now. So if Tracy Adkins is playing there the 31st of October, it's a country singer. But it was just a really, really interesting trip. And if you're anywhere near the area, I would highly suggest you guys go check out the marijuana pot pipe at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
It's very interesting that they were able to fabricate the pipe, but where the hell did they get the weed from?
Yeah, I know, right?
You think about that.
Drugs are smuggled in all the time in prisons. That's just
when I went to Alcatraz, one of the most interesting things there was the mechanism to open and close the doors, the sliding doors, what the levers and dials and everything that they had to pull and switch and move so that only one door or multiple doors would open.
Yeah.
And like the mechanism is still live and it still works. Hey, back to kind of the Smoker Show a little bit.
Yeah.
Jennifer said hello.
Hi, Jennifer.
And I don't know if Jennifer realizes this, but I gave Jennifer a little plug in my Italian website vaping interview.
Really?
Yeah, I did. And by the way, could they have found like a worse photo of me?
That's pretty bad. Both of the pictures were bad. I didn't want to say anything, but since you brought it up,
horrible. All I had to do was ask. Literally, I think my tongue is sticking out of my mouth right there.
It looks like you're lisping. That's exactly what it looks like.
It's terrible. And that even this photo is not.
It's horrible.
Really good.
They just screenshotted YouTube for a couple of pictures.
My God. And by the way, they absolutely here. Look, Jennifer. Look at that. Look at that, Jennifer.
Ah, that's so sweet.
Huh?
What did Jennifer give you in return for that?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Maybe another recipe. And they mangled the interview. They really destroyed the interview because I thought I wrote some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And they condensed it down, and I think somebody who didn't speak English condensed it. Because one of the things that I said, because you know how I like to always point out that watermelon peach is the number 1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line, and I actually put that in the interview. But here it says, I also like watermelon peach, one of the best-selling liquids.
Oh, they were close.
They're close.
They were close. But that's what happens usually when there's lack of communication and the language. So, but anyway, that was nice of them. Yeah. All right, just a couple of notes from the chat. John Luby, my nephew, just joined in. He has 2 days vaping and has decided to stop smoking cigarettes. Good job, Phil. Thank you very much, John, and congratulations to your nephew. And Larry F., 𝗵𝗶𝗺, tell them about our wonderful Florida pumpkin festivas.
You know,
what the hell are you doing in Florida with this old man? You going pumpkin festivas? What the fuck is that?
we were trying to get the fall feeling. Okay, it's a little difficult to get the fall and
the what
feeling. Huh?
The what? You're trying to get the what? The fall?
The fall feeling. You know, like, you know, shut up, dude. Like the temperature change and the leaves falling off, you know, the trees and everything.
Were you holding hands and reading Arlequin while you're going there too, or just?
No, it was me, Larry's wife. Come on.
Okay,
you know.
all right.
But we were looking for something, you know, something like, you know, back home, the fresh cider, which obviously you're not going to get here because they actually press the apples up north and then you drink it. Looking for that, looking for like the donuts, the fried donuts that this one farm has. They're like crack donuts. They're so damn good. Looking for that, looking for like some pumpkin pies and some apple pies, and just trying to get that little bit of that fall feeling, and it didn't work out. That I think we spent about a good solid 10 minutes at each of the farms. There were a lot of pumpkins, but pretty much nothing.
And I'm sure you sweated really bad.
No, it wasn't too bad. It's not too bad.
All right, let's get started. One last thing I want to mention. Thanks to One Shot Media in France for having us on. It was a couple hours ago. If you want to go search One Shot on YouTube and watch that, we very, very proud. I mean, you know, me and Phil have always maintained this let's help smokers thing. So this project started actually a year ago, pre-COVID and all that stuff. COVID put a huge, huge damper on getting this thing done, but it's finally done. We partnered up with a big company, one of the biggest companies in France, Alpha Liquid. And if you've watched the show religiously or have seen some of the past episodes, you've heard us mention this. 𝗵𝗵𝗺 has 2 videos from our visit with them at their manufacturing facility and at the wonderful vape shop. And we just came up with this idea of creating an all-in-one exclusive kit that's going to be dedicated to smokers. And officially, we launched it today. Here's a couple of pictures of it. And Phil, you want to talk a little bit more about this project?
Well, yeah. So when we went to Alpha Liquid, you know, we were actually talking about doing some kind of a collaboration. And I think it's a really good collaboration because Alpha Liquid, just the people, the science they're involved with, the care and concern with people, you know, quitting smoking and going over to vaping and the tobacco harm reduction aspect, and the vape shop that we went to. If you haven't seen that video, I strongly recommend you go and check that video out and see their philosophy of a vape shop. I think if we had that philosophy of a vape, I think we would be in a much better situation than we're in today. So, you know, the collaboration was the kit that you saw. It's the Zlide tube with a Zlide and a couple of bottles of Alpha E-liquid. And you know, it was funny because David in the show today, he asked, why is there no USB-C? Why is it like micro USB? Because it's about 1.5 years old.
Yeah, now. Yeah. So. And also the kit itself, it's not just here's 2 bottles of liquid and here's a device. Okay, anybody can do that. But what we worked really hard with him is to provide literature inside the package that covers everything a smoker needs to know about vaping, from what to expect in 24 hours of quitting smoking, 72 hours, 2 weeks, and so forth and so forth. Notes that they can take, how much money they're going to save, how they're going to improve their health. I mean, it is tremendously meticulous on how much attention has been put in this kit. In my opinion, if you're in France, this is one of the best starter kits. Obviously, you know, the Zlide and the Zenith sell amazingly well in France as well, too. But what we were trying to tell the vapors in France that were watching the show, because mostly vapors watch it, obviously this is not for existing vapors, right? This is for new people. What we want is we want the vapors to tell smokers, hey, go get this. Everything you need is inside: liquid, coils, battery, chargers, all this literature, all this information, safety, warnings, everything that you need is inside this kit. And of course, the support of me and Phil through the QR code and the platform group. So very, very proud to finally have this. A lot of hard work went with, and we We ended up with the 𝗷𝗊𝗐𝗍 liquid logo, and we did 2 color schemes that are not available, and just in general, it's just for alpha liquid itself, with this nice.
That was like the
very
kind
very
of
classy
teal one. There's the it's almost like a silver gold.
Yeah,
look to it.
yeah, it's
really
very
nice.
very classy.
Actually, some of the information in that kit is information that we got from Alpha Liquid,
Yes.
probably about 2 years ago now, and we used that information in when we went to the different vape shops,
Back to basics.
the Back to Basics seminar that we did, and a lot of that information was used there. It's used in their vape shop idea, and we got a chance to use it again in that kit.
Very, very, very excited for that to be launched. Let me bring my other screen up. I have so many screens open and so many tabs open. But the big news this past week, obviously, well, maybe about 10 days ago, was the Cochrane review, which came out. This is an updated review, just to kind of give a little bit of preface to the story so people can understand. Back in 2014, the Cochrane Library did a review on electronic cigarettes. Also, at the time, found that electronic cigarettes may be an aid to help smokers stop smoking, but there hadn't been any randomized, what they call RCTs, randomized controlled trials at the time. Since 2014, obviously, some randomized trials have come out. About 11 new studies were added into the review, and they basically updated this 2014 review. And what they found was really, really interesting. Keep in mind that the Cochrane review is well respected in the United States. Okay, it's not like this is some random. This is independent, nonprofit with real scientists looking at and peer reviewing the studies. So the original review included 2 randomized clinical trials that involved more than 600 participants. Found that electronic cigarettes containing nicotine may increase the chances of stopping smoking within 6 to 12 months. Compared to using an electronic cigarette without nicotine, which makes sense. The updated review does not have observational data from those studies, but what they did find, okay, is that this product helps double your chances than using NRTs or using quitting smoking, cold turkey, or using with behavioral support only, or quitting with an electronic cigarette that contains no nicotine. So it doubles your chances of that. And I'm going to get a little bit into this a little bit deeper, and I do have some personal observations that I want to talk about with Phil about it. All these links will be in the comment description of this video, and of course, they're going to be up on Taste Your Juice some point tomorrow. But
I'm not sure if they can be in the description, but they'll definitely be on.
Yeah, there's nothing selling here. All these are not, these are not to be sold. But anyway, that's fine. You can find them on tasteyourjuice.com. What I really like about the Cochrane Library is that they started doing this a few years ago. They have what's called a plain language summary, because we're not scientists, right? We need to be able to understand. But the key results from this is combined results from the 2 studies involving 662 people showed that using an electronic cigarette containing nicotine increased the chances of stopping smoking in the long term compared to using an electronic cigarette without nicotine. We could not determine if electronic cigarette was better than a nicotine patch in helping people stopping smoking because the number of participants in the study was too low. More studies are needed to evaluate this effect. The other studies were of lower quality, but they supported these findings. None of these studies found that smokers who use electronic cigarettes short-term had an increased health risk compared to smokers who did not use electronic cigarettes. So this is very, very important. So what they're saying here, Phil, is that, look, and before vapors get mad, these are scientists. So they look at the data, right? And what they can determine is that there was no ill effects for the people that were using these products up to 2 years, which is where they got the information from to create and put out this study. There were absolutely, like, the worst thing that they found was dry mouth and maybe a little bit of coughing, which is something that we hear from everybody that tries to use vaping. So it's very, very important to try to be as fair and balanced when we're talking about pro and against scientific studies. But this was a pretty huge deal, I think. No matter how you want to spin it, even if the participants were not that many, people were saying, well, only 10 people quit smoking. Well, if that's double the amount of NRT, that means that it's 100% more efficient to help people quit smoking. And I'm going to explain later why that is a little bit misleading as well, too. But nonetheless, I want to play this really quick. This is directly from Cochrane, and it's a little bit low audio, so I'm going to have to pump it up a little bit. But just to get a little idea from this, I'm just going to play a little piece out of it. So more people using electronic cigarettes, Phil, quit than the people that were using nicotine replacement therapy.
Right. This isn't the first study to come up with this this answer, though, is
Correct.
it?
No, it's not. No, they've taken studies, including probably the study that you're thinking. I mean, you can see the studies over there that are listed: Bullen, Hijic, and Lee. They took these studies and they peer reviewed them. Basically, they're double checking what those people did to come up with a conclusion if vaping can help people quit smoking. Because that's the key here, right? Is like, can vaping help people quit smoking and quit smoking completely? Because that's the goal. The goal is to completely eliminate combustible tobacco.
Can you crank the volume on that, little D?
That's all the way up.
Okay.
I don't think that audio is picking up. Hold on just a second.
They're saying there's no sound at all for them.
Just a second. I'll get it.
Sticking with this comparison.
All right, you should be having it now.
If we then look at nicotine e-cigarettes compared to nicotine replacement therapy and looking at the outcome of adverse events at 1 week or longer, we find no difference in the number of events or number of participants experiencing adverse events. Here, the certainty of the evidence was considered low, and this again was due to imprecision. So we have wide confidence intervals, which incorporate potential harm as well as potential benefit. And again, few studies with few events contributing data.
Okay, I won't play the rest of it. I'll have this in the description if you want. I do want to scroll down to here where we come to a little bit of what they come up with as you know, what are the implications of what we can do with this information that we have, okay? Evidence suggesting nicotine electronic cigarettes can aid in smoking cessation and consistent across several comparisons. So all the studies that they looked at, Phil, basically says the same thing. Electronic cigarettes can help you quit smoking. There was moderate certainty evidence, limited by imprecision, that electronic cigarettes with nicotine increased quit rates at 6 months or longer compared to non-nicotine electronic cigarettes and compared to NRT. There was low certainty evidence that electronic cigarettes with nicotine increased quit rates compared to... So all across the board, everything compared to everything else that they compared showed that it's better and it helps people quit smoking. The effect of nicotine electronic cigarette when added to NRT was unclear. They didn't test that. And none of the included studies detected any serious adverse events considered possibly related to electronic cigarette use. The most common reported adverse effects was throat, mouth irritation, headache, blah, 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 which says this all has to do with nicotine. Obviously, they're asking for further trials as well, too. Check. Just want to make sure my microphone is working now. So, okay, let me go back to this screen here and take this. All right. Can everybody hear me?
I can.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody can. Can you hear Phil? Phil?
Can you guys hear me? Check,
Yeah,
1, 2,
okay.
3. Check.
All right, it's working. Okay, now it's okay. All right. So, results of the Cochrane review. I think as an industry, we need to embrace this, obviously, and put it in our arsenal with all the other studies. But it is a little bit not true. And I'm going to tell you why it's not true. Because it's not real world testing of people quitting smoking. Imagine, Phil. I might be the bad guy here, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel.
You're the realist, not the bad guy.
Imagine, Phil, if you walked into a vape shop and I gave you one electronic cigarette and one liquid to quit smoking.
Okay.
Imagine if that was the scenario.
Okay.
What percentage of the people that came in there would be successful in quitting smoking? I'm giving you one electronic cigarette. You don't have a choice. I'm giving you this one, and I'm giving you this liquid.
Can I ask what device and what?
It doesn't make any difference. I'm going to give you one. That's it. Just going to give you one.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say here is that the chances of people quitting because 100 people will come into a store, that one device might not work for everybody, will decrease. And that's what a clinical setting is. A clinical setting is the person comes in, I'm going to give you this. He doesn't have a choice. It's not like it's a vape shop and says, well, I want something a little bit more powerful. I want something a little bit less. Or this liquid doesn't do for me. I need a little bit, a different flavor, higher nicotine, lower nicotine. They give you this and they say quit smoking. For a certain percentage of people, it's going to work. But for the majority of people, the beauty, the magic, the aura that is vaping is variety, affordability, and just a gamut of products that everybody can choose something that fits their need to quit smoking. And you just don't get that. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at, Phil?
Yeah. So basically in this study, one of the most important things that we talked about in the Back to Basics seminar was the conversation that the person behind the counter has with the customer.
Yes.
To really nail down what it is that the customer needs. That conversation never happened. So we don't know anything about that customer's needs, right?
Yeah.
So you're given just that one. So it definitely reduces the possibility of a success.
Correct. I think people need to take that in consideration. Also, a lot of these studies, one of the studies was in 2018, but a lot of these studies were done in 2015 and 2016. Technology has evolved, since then as well too. A lot of these clinical settings, they'll choose an electronic cigarette that's popular in the market, but again, they're choosing one. It's different, I think, for a person that has the freedom to go inside and find exactly what they need to quit smoking, then going into a clinical setting and say, okay, this is what I'm going to get. And this is this.
There's two other things that work against that too, right? Marshall says, and what Marshall said is absolutely right. They have to be motivated. They have to be motivated to quit smoking. The other thing too, and this is something that I talk about a lot, is that there's no vested interest, right?
Correct.
They were given the device.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't pay for the device. There's no vested interest. It might work, it might not. They don't care. They're not out any money, right?
Right. I all good points. I think the reason why I bring this is because there's going to be people. Even Stanton Glantz put out on his blog disputing this particular study. Imagine that. But there's people that are going to discredit it, and people like Stanton Glantz will say, well, look, the low amount of number of participants, and then from that, even a smaller percentage quit smoking. So we really can't say that as a population as a whole, vaping can help people quit smoking. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I was a scientist, don't look at it as a vapor, guys. I mean, I get you vapors are passionate. What we're trying to tell smokers here is that this is better than smoking. This is what the goal of the show is, right? As a vapor, I'm a little bit pissed off because I look at this and I'm like, that's not real world. You give me 100 people in my shop or take them to a good vape shop that has variety, I'll give you a 50% chance of people quitting smoking, maybe even higher. Now, if you bring them to me and I'm going to say, all you're going to get is this, I'll probably have a 10% chance of getting everybody to quit smoking. So I think that in a real world setting, we're given, they have the ammunition, but we have to be able to dispute it. And my dispute is, even in that scenario, which is not real world, it's double the amount of NRT. Even in that scenario, imagine if you let this free market reign in America, where we can continue to put out new products and continue to put out new liquids and continue to evolve technology. Imagine how many people we can help quit smoking. But the government said no. The government said, no, you can't put in new products now because, you have the PMTAs here in America, right? And we're going to talk a little bit later about why that is happening. I found something really, really interesting that you talk about all the time, Phil. and I want to bring it up. This is 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹 She's a doctor. She is the lead of this tobacco review group from Cochrane, and she was on with our good friend Brent Stafford at Regulator Watch. We'll have this link in the description as well, too. And I just want to play that for you guys, just so you can hear one portion of it where where Brent asks her about why is so much bad science or manipulated science or bad science that's coming out against vaping. So here we go, real quick. Just want you to listen to this because it brings up something that you say all the time.
Dr. 𝗵𝗶𝗹, our viewers have a keen eye for research. They read a lot of it, they see a lot of it, and they certainly know that a lot of it seems skewed against vaping. Like, it's hard to imagine that, you know, this synopsis, this abstract, the press release that eventually comes out from the university, I mean, it's just clearly, you know, going after vaping. At least that's the impression. So you're looking at all this research. Do you see that level of bias, that colloquial bias that we as observers see?
So I think yes and no, I suppose, would be my answer. A lot of the trials in this review, I think it is fair to say the trialists don't necessarily come to the area of interest. I think you probably don't do randomized controlled trials testing electronic cigarettes for smoking cessation if you think they're absolutely not going to work and are a harmful device. So I don't think that's necessarily where some of the evidence we include comes from. I think when you look wider, we do, of course, see that in studies in other areas, not that many which met the inclusion criteria for this review. And one of the things that I suppose I find quite challenging when I'm viewing research results and the way they're presented around vaping is when vaping is presented as an alternative to nothing, which of course for non-smokers it might be, but for this review,
here we go, Phil.
We're not talking about just choosing to vape after having not engaged in any other behaviors. We're talking about switching from smoking to vaping. And I think when we think about harms, it is really important to contextualize the harms we're thinking about. So expert consensus broadly holds and is supported by our review that vaping, though not risk-free, is considerably less harmful than smoking.
So what she's saying here, Phil, is what you've been saying all the time. And the reason, again, I play this is the Smoker Show, folks. We want the new vapors and the smokers to get this information from doctors, from scientists that says, hey, vaping is better than smoking. But what she said there is extremely important. It's something that me and Phil and Dr. Farsalinos have been, since 2012, we've been bitching about this. Anytime that you're going to judge the harm of vaping, you always have to, what, Phil?
Compare it to that of a cigarette.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And none of these studies do that. And it's very, very hard. It's very, very expensive to do that. You see, even she said, you know, some of these studies that have been out have been done by the industry. Obviously, there's got to be, you know, some kind of but it takes a lot of money. And what I find ridiculous is that our government will not spend a few $1 million to invest and do a study like that, take it and compare it to smoking. All this would have been done immediately. Within 6 months, we would know that vaping is better than smoking. However, our government is not. Our government is spending $2 million on stupid shit, like big pens. I don't know. It's just stupid. I can open up the budget and we can have a whole show about that if you want to. But it would take a few $1 million to do a study and compare it versus smoking in these scenarios where smokers come in. And it's not happening. And it's frustrating for me having to defend this product on a political level like I do in Tennessee, but on a global level as we do as advocates, when people always bring this up, it's like, there's not enough studies. There's not, I mean, we have studies, but are they at the scale that we could possibly do? No, it's impossible. We are not Philip Morris. We're not R.J. Reynolds. If the government doesn't do it, our industry is never going to. Our industry can't even agree on bottle size, for crying out loud. We're not going to get together and do a study. But the key point of this segment, and the reason why I presented it to you in that way, is that if you are a smoker, there's absolutely no doubt with this Cochrane review, if you don't believe anything else that we've played over the last 3 seasons on the Smoker Show, with this Cochrane review, there's absolutely no doubt that vaping is better than smoking.
Yeah.
So even if you're decreasing your harm by 10%, you're extending your life by 10%. Okay.
I think that was one of the very first Smoker Show slides that we had. On the bottom of the slide, it said something like, you know, when you see or you hear a bad article about vaping, they found something bad. Don't say, oh my God, well, I need to stop vaping. Don't do that. Or don't say, oh my God, I'm not going to try vaping. Because unless the article or the study or what you're reading compares what they found bad with vaping to that of a cigarette, it's an invalid article, right? One of the things that I said, and believe me, a lot of money is being spent to put vaping in a bad light. You go in my refrigerator and you spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of, it's like they're trying too hard. They're trying too hard. If you look in my refrigerator and you try that hard, you're going to find bad stuff in the refrigerator that you're eating every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always some risk involved, but the risk is greatly reduced with vaping when it comes to smoking. And that is who this show is for. It's the smokers show. It's not the I've never smoked before show. It's not the I want to try vaping and I've never smoked. No, it's the smokers show. We're trying to get people to move from smoking to vaping when all the standard cessation products have failed them. Come over and check out vaping.
Absolutely, and thank you to Cochrane for putting that review out. Timely, I would say, in lieu of what we have upcoming for the 2021 legislation. But wait, there's more. There's more good news. More good news. This is from your buddy. You had him on the Smoker Show about a month and a half ago when I was in Greece, Dr. 𝗂𝗀. This is the Coehar study that confirms that smokers with COPD can benefit greatly by switching to electronic cigarettes. Obviously, this is in Italy. The researchers just published the longest clinical follow-up of e-cigarette users ever reported. The study, COPD smokers who switch to e-cigarettes, health outcomes at a 5-year follow-up, explores the long-term effects of e-cigarette use in patients with COPD and confirms that regular use can ameliorate objective and subjective COPD and is long-lasting. The patients who switched from conventional smoking to regular vaping achieved sustained abstinence, resulting in a 50% reduction in COPD exacerbations and overall improvement in exercise tolerance and quality of life. Now, look, COPD is brutal. If you have met anybody in your life, and it's rampant a lot in the United States, if you have met anybody that has dealt with it, and I've had friends and relatives that have dealt with it, carrying around oxygen tanks, it is a brutal disease. It's something that kills you slowly, and you suffer through it. There is no doubt that even if you have COPD, that doesn't mean that it's the end. Even if you quit smoking today, you can extend your life, you can live a better life, and in some cases, as we see here, you can reduce the COPD can't say that word. The bad thing that COPD brings, you can reduce that and overall improve your life. And as a 5-year study, I think it's important because, again, we're talking about long-term studies. It's something that we hear all the time. There's no long-term studies. Well, I mean, vaping's been around for 10 years. So a 5-year study is probably the longest that these researchers would be able to do so far. I'm sure that this is an ongoing study by Dr. 𝗂𝗂. But yeah, if you can alleviate some of the pain and live a longer life, even if you have COPD, the time to quit smoking is now, and the best way for you to do it is to switch to vaping.
You know what the sad thing is that we've known this with COPD. We've known this. I mean, how many stories have we heard of people
Countless.
being helped, right?
Countless.
So I just did a study. I just did a study in the background. I went over to the first displayed page of success stories on tasteyourjuice.com. COPD is mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on the first page.
Yeah.
That people have been helped.
Yeah.
Right? There's my study.
Yeah. It's real people, man. It's real people that have their lives have been.
I still to this day have not had an upper respiratory tract infection since I switched from smoking to vaping.
Yeah. And we've been to China 14 times. That's saying something.
I mean, if you're going to get an upper respiratory tract, if you're going to get any kind of infection, it's going to happen there.
It made us COVID proof, though. All right. You know, what's unfortunate is that with more and more science coming out, vaping numbers, especially in the U.S., are dropping. Like, there's less and less more people that are trying vaping to quit smoking, and the irony is so brutal. It's you know, it's a criminal tragedy. What's happening is criminal, and I hope one day, maybe 20, 30 years from now, we'll, you know, when me and Phil are Netflix and chilling somewhere, this documentary pops up and it shows these criminals that caused the death of so many Americans. And it's time we got to wake up, man. We got to wake up and fight for not for us only, but fight for the smokers that are out there, and give them options, which the government unfortunately is not giving.
You know, there's two kinds of criminality going on here, if you will. I mean, there's what's criminal is that all of the news and the information and the studies is preventing people from trying vaping. Okay, so that's one part of it. The other part is that people are going from vaping back to smoking. That kills me, right? And it's going to kills me because I'm aggravated about it. It's going to kill people for real.
Yeah, John Łuby is a convert of Jennifer's, by the way. I make sure I say that before Jennifer whips me. And he's only been vaping, perfect for whipping or for 3 weeks. His skin feels better. John Q. Public, he has COPD. He is real. I mean, these are real people. Mowgli had used to get chronic bronchitis every single winter from Thanksgiving till Easter, every single year. All that's gone away with it. I mean, these are real people, folks. You might say when you're watching this show, oh, Dimitri and Phil, they sell electronic cigarettes. Of course they're going to say it. Okay, let's say that's the reason. Look at the chat and look at the people that are using these products, and then try them out for yourself, and then make the determination. And hopefully you come back and you're going to say thank you to us at that point.
Go over to the sex.
Well,
we were talking about whipping before. Go over to the success stories page at tasteyourjuice.com and just read. Just take some time and read some of these stories from people.
Yeah.
Like you said, these are just real people that, you know, have had a good experience changing or switching over from smoking to vaping. And I mean, look at this. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So it is real. It's real people. What can we do? What can we do? Do you think it's the adults, take this however you want, the mature adults that are not trying vaping? Who's not trying?
I think that there's a big uptake in disposable high nic pods used by younger people. And I'm not talking about kids. Let's take the kid equation out of there. But the 18 to 25, which was the demographic that the industry catered to between 2016 and 2018, okay? And which is the most buying demographic in America right now, okay? So think about this. Between 2016 and 2018, that group was buying, you know, liter liquid, drippers, clouds, and all that. Then when Juul came around and made this thing popular, the vape shops put it in. And then the same buyers, that same 18 to 25 group, started buying that. It was the new hot thing. Get a little buzz, high nicotine. I don't have to blow clouds. I don't have to use 15 gallons of liquids. Great. So they got on this 50 milligram through the vape shops, okay? Because those products are available in vape shops as well, too. When Juul pulled those flavors, guess what? These kids are fending on nicotine now. I mean, look, you say whatever you want about me. I really don't give a shit. But you know darn well that I'm saying the truth. Okay? These kids are fending. They're trying to find that 50, 60 milligram hit. And the disposable market came in to fill in that gap. That 18 to 25, maybe a little bit older, that demographic is indisposable. As far as older vapors, I think older vapors, if we start going to the 35, 40, I think we're still converting those. Definitely not at the rates that we used to do back in 2012 and 2013.
No, definitely
but I think somebody that's at that, like the age that I quit at 39 with 2 kids, that's his health is deteriorating, I think is going to look into it. Hopefully you'll have a buddy that vapes, somebody like Jennifer that helps Mr. Łuby or whatever. I think we still can get those converts through those type of routine actions. And there might be that one person that's going to walk into the vape shop who's finally had enough and he wants to find something to quit smoking. And hopefully he'll be guided right. But
either that or I'll walk into a shop full of glassware.
Yeah, either that. Yeah, but and again, that's the other problem is like even if we did a massive campaign at this point, vape shops are not equipped as vape shops anymore. I mean, today, this is drama, but today there's a whole drama about Delta 8, like the lab results. And like people are arguing about how much THC is in this vape, but nobody is talking about having THC vapes in vape shops. Like that's none of the concerns, but the concern is who has a COA and who has that. So I mean, honestly, I think that vaping is doomed to big tobacco here in America. I'm not going to lie to you. When that's going to happen, I don't know. Whenever the FDA decides to enforce. But as it stands now, I think that we're still converting some older people. As long as we can guide them and do like we did back in the early days before vape shops, and we helped each other and try to guide them correctly so they don't have to deal with, that.
In a way, it's going to go back to that grassroots. I mean, in a way, it's going to go back to, and maybe it never left, but forums and me talking to somebody, you talking to somebody, people who are watching the show talking to somebody.
Yeah.
YouTube videos, things like that. But I think it was different back when we started vaping compared to when an adult today may want to pick it up and try. When we started, really, there was no such thing as a vape shop, so we can't use how the vape shops changed as an excuse, right? But when we started, I don't think that there was nothing negative to get around, right? There was nothing negative getting in our way to trying vaping. But now, an adult, if they just Google vaping, I mean, they're going to get nothing but bad news.
Or they might be in a state that doesn't sell flavored liquid as well, too, like in New York and some other. You have a lot of obstacles now to overcome that. I just don't think that we can. I just don't think that the industry is big enough, and the focus is still on tobacco harm reduction like it used to be. That's just my opinion, and take it for what it is. I really don't care. But one of the biggest reasons I think that the misconception about vaping in America is the reasons why there's so much opposition to it, and there's a lot. There's a lot. And I think over in season 3 of Smoker Show, I'll break it down like I'm doing today. Like I'll take one entity and why that is against vaping and just try to stretch it out through the season. That way it's not overloading to you and do it all in one episode. But there's probably $1 billion reasons why people don't want vaping to succeed in America. And it's not one thing, okay? It goes across the board. I'll say 90% of our enemies are people that are in position of power that financially benefit from people smoking, period. And that includes hospitals, that includes healthcare, that includes insurance, that includes taxes, that includes political donations, that include a global economy that has been built around the cigarette distribution, including one of the most important ones, the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement. The Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement is something that you hear me talking about all the time, the MSA. So what is the MSA? Very simply, we're going to go here to Wiki page first. The MSA was entered in November of 1998. So that's when it began, okay, in 1998. This was an agreement between the 4 largest United States tobacco companies, Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, Brown & Willison, and Lorillard. Keep in mind that out of those 4 companies, Philip Morris is the one that took the lead on this. So most of the negotiation that happened between the government and the big tobacco companies was handled by the attorneys of Philip Morris. This was done with 46 states. The other 4 states did individual settlements with the states. So the 46 all joined in together, and then there's 4 more states that did individual lawsuits against the big tobacco, and they settled individually. The states settled their Medicaid lawsuits against the tobacco industry for recovery for the tobacco-related healthcare costs. In exchange, the companies agreed to curtail or seize certain tobacco marketing practices, as well to pay in perpetually various annual payments to the states to compensate them for some of the medical costs of caring for persons with smoking-related illnesses. Here's the good one. The money also funds a new anti-smoking advocacy group called the Truth Initiative that is responsible for such campaign as truth and maintains a public archive of documents resulting from the cases. Now, I'm going to ask you, just, everybody's an adult here. I'm going to ask you, Phil. If this group was born with Master Settlement Agreement, Their goal is to eliminate smoking. That's their goal. That's their mission. Why would this group be against a tool that works twice as effective as an RT? Why would they be against this product being sold in America?
Kickbacks, money. It's got to be. It's got to be. I mean, you said what the group is supposed to be doing, right?
Yes.
Putting out information that's anti-smoking.
Correct.
Why are they anti-vaping?
Correct. It's because
it goes against their charter.
The master settlement agreement is directly tied in with the amount of cigarettes being sold in every state. The money that every state gets is directly connected to how many cigarettes. More cigarettes are sold in the state, more money is given to the master settlement agreement for that state, and in turn, more money is given to the Truth Campaign and others that have been attached to that. Part of the deal that was made in this master settlement agreement, right, what the big tobacco companies have to adhere by, forbids participating cigarette manufacturers from directly or indirectly targeting youth, imposes significant prohibitions or restrictions on advertising, marketing, and promotional programs or activities, bans or restricts cartoons, transit advertising, most forms of outdoor advertising, including billboards, media, branded merchandise, free products, blah, 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 and most sponsorships. So all that sounds logical to me. Whatever. I mean, I'm a free market guy. Some of it is a little bit too much, but okay. I mean, I get it. You don't want to target the youth. You don't want any cartoons. You don't want any of that stuff. I'm all for that. However, what happens to this money? Over the years, the states have collected tremendous amount of commercial tobacco revenue, but are spending little of it on tobacco prevention and cessation programs. According to a state-by-state look at the MSA 19 years later, 46 states have collected, will collect $27.5 billion from the MSA in taxes in year 2018. In 1 year. And you know what's really funny about this? Like we were trying to raise $2 million for a PR firm, and they're collecting $27.5 billion. And this is just in 2018. But out of that money, Phil, they will spend less than 3% of it on programs to prevent kids from smoking and help smokers quit.
Amazing.
It's truly amazing. I think it's truly amazing to think as a citizen of this country. We live in the free world, the greatest country in the world. It's really amazing to believe that your government in all levels, because they all get a little piece of this pie from county, city, state, and federal, would want you to continue to smoke. But they do. And they do. You know why? Because they're fucking greedy. You know why they're greedy? They took this money, they bonded it out to fill in the gaps of their budgets. Mm-hmm. I am going to play for you. This is from 2014. All right? This is not now. This is from 2014. I'm going to play to you a brief interview with reporter 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗀 where he talks with a Wall Street guy. His name is 𝗊𝗄𝗏, talking about the predicament of the states in 2014, where vaping was not as popular as it is now, okay? But they were already starting to lose money in 2014. I'm going to tell you how states got in trouble with the money that they were collecting by using that money for other reasons. Here we go.
This is Marketplace from APM. I'm 𝗂𝗍𝗄𝗏. It's been more than 15 years. 1998 is when it was, since what's called the Master Settlement went into effect. The agreement between the states and the tobacco industry that obliged cigarette companies to basically reimburse states for the costs of health care for smokers and to fund programs to get people to stop smoking. There's a new report out today from ProPublica that shows not only aren't those programs being funded, but in fact many states are now deeply in debt as a result of that settlement. Cesar Podkol wrote that piece. Cesar, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
I think probably we ought to start by laying out the terms of this settlement from 1998, right? That is whence all this money comes from.
Yeah, so in 1998, the attorneys general of 46 states, the District of Columbia, and 5 territories settled with Big Tobacco to pay them money in perpetuity, billions of dollars in perpetuity to reimburse the states for smoking-related healthcare costs.
And it was money that was going to come from cigarette sales, right?
Well, precisely right. It's directly tied to the volume of cigarettes that get sold.
Got it. And then you write, after this deal is done, the ink barely being dry, Wall Street comes a-knocking and says, hey, we've got an idea.
That's right. A couple of the attorneys general told us that immediately after the settlement was done, they started getting pitches from Wall Street bankers who came to the states and said, hey, there's a risk that if people smoke less, then this revenue stream might decline. So why don't you shed that risk to investors who would buy bonds backed by the settlement monies, so the money would flow to them, and then in return you'd have this upfront cash.
And that part of it does make some sense, right? Investors take
Precisely.
the risk instead of the public, right?
Right, and that was the rationale behind the deals. And now the plan was always that the states would be able to pay this back early. The projections that bankers used to sell the bonds were very optimistic at the time. They assumed that smoking would decline, but it would decline at a lesser pace than what we see today. What that means is there just simply isn't enough money available to repay this debt early.
I want to make sure I understand what's happening as a result of this securitization of the tobacco debt. What is of the tobacco settlement? What is basically happening in practice is that investors are getting this money stream from the settlement instead of the states and the people.
Precisely. Every year in April, a wire goes out from the tobacco companies to Citibank, and Citibank, wires the money out to states. If the state has done a tobacco deal to, securitize the proceeds, once the wire comes in, the state doesn't get to keep that cash. It doesn't go into the general fund. It skips the general fund, and obviously will then go to the investors.
The place where a lot of states are getting into trouble or have gotten into trouble are these things called capital appreciation bonds. What are they?
A capital appreciation bond is basically a type of borrowing where instead of paying, interest and principal down over the life of the bond, what you're doing is you're just letting that interest accrue and get added onto the principal and the accrued amount and sort of build and snowball until, not 30 years, but in many times we found these bonds had term lives of 40, 50, sometimes even more than 50 years, where the interest would grow into, many billions of dollars.
You make special mention of the state of Ohio, whose treasurer back then was Richard Cordray, now the guy running the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? They borrowed, $319 million in these capital appreciation bonds, and they will owe at maturity in 2047 $6.6 billion, right? So
2047 and 2050, there's two different maturities, but if you added it all up, it's 319 up, yeah.
Right. The middle of the century will be bad news for the state of Ohio.
Well, like most of the states that did this, Ohio created a separate authority to sell these bonds, meaning that these debts would be only the sole obligation of the authority and not of the state of Ohio. However, many analysts we talked to said it would be natural for bondholders to come knocking on the state's doors and say, hey, you sold us this product that's defaulted. We're buyers of your other debt. Can you help us out? So that conversation is likely to happen.
It's pretty easy to see who the losers are, right, in the securitization of this tobacco debt. I'm going to go way out on a limb here and guess that Wall Street is the winner.
Oh, by far, absolutely the biggest winners. Just for the fees that banks earned alone, it was about $400 million. And then if you add in the money that the consultants and then the lawyers earned on top of that, you get well over $500 million they've collected so far in doing these deals. Many of which now are going to be heading into default, meaning non-payment. And as a result, we already see bankers pitching their services to states, as I just mentioned, to help fix the situation.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And then once they fix the situation, of course, they get even more money. So the fees are going to keep coming into Wall Street.
There is a link to this piece on our website, marketplace.org.
So, I'm not the smartest person in the room by far, Phil. But what I realized hearing, I played this on Smoke Free Radio back on when I was on VP Live back in 2014. This is how old this piece is, okay?
How long it's been around, yeah.
And I think it's important for people to understand that the Master Settlement Agreement, yes, the states are hurting from it, but it's not just them. Because, well, guess what? Wall Street's involved. As you heard it there, bankers are involved, insurance agents, lending companies, title companies. There's a lot of people that are involved with massive, crazy amount of money that we're talking about here. So it's not just the state, right? But what's more important, like if I would hear, if you take the state out of that and replace it with Phil Bouchard doing this, I think that in any scenario, like there would be some kind of investigation into fraud into 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗀 𝗕𝗂𝗀. Am I wrong in thinking that? Like, how are these states getting away with this when any other individual trying to do this or some form of this would probably be looked into as, you know, some form of fraud?
There's no explanation. It is fraud. You know, it's fraud, and it's a coordinated effort too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like look at we're talking about the Truth Initiative, right? How much has the Truth Initiative recently done anti-smoking? Are they all anti-vaping at this point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds to me like they want to get rid of vaping, and if they do get rid of vaping, more people are going to smoke.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, if that's your direction, right? And you know, when you take a look at somebody like Andrew Cuomo and his scumbag brother, okay, both of them, you know, it sounds like he's doing something good, right? With his flavor, he's protecting the children.
Sure.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's protecting MSA money. It's really disgusting.
No doubt about it.
It's really disgusting what's going on.
The reason why I wanted to break it down like that is just, I think the more education is power for vapors, and when we're speaking accurate, I think it's better for us in general. Just don't go out there and say, stuff like that. Explain why it's the MSA. You know, explain to people so they can understand it. And the reason why I want to put it in more plain English is for smokers to understand. It's like when you hear your governor saying we're going to ban these products because we have an epidemic, no, what that means is that we have an annuity on a bond that's going to fuck us so hard. I mean, you heard Ohio is going to be bankrupt by the mid-century. You know, that's what this reporter is predicting. So Ohio obviously taxed electronics, to put some certain restrictions on manufacturing and stuff like that, and they proposed a flavor ban last year. It didn't go through. I'm sure they're going to come back in 2020 and try to ban it as well too. But as you're seeing these states, do a little bit of research and look in the background. What is the motive for that? And the motive is always going to end up to one thing, and that is the almighty dollar.
It is, and you know, like it's one of the things that I say, like this. I'll support this. Right?
Sure.
But I hate it. I hate it. I hate the fact that vaping is about money and votes. I hate that. Right? It shouldn't be about that. It should be about the 95% less harm than a cigarette. It should be about that. It should be about we can save lives. It should be about that.
Yeah.
But it's not. This is where we have to go.
Yeah.
This is the direction we have to go. It shouldn't be about this. It should be we can save 95% of the smokers. Okay. Period.
Yeah.
End of story. No need
That's
for
it.
this.
Yeah.
Right? It's just frustrating.
By the way, we got breaking news.
Boy.
Larry's bedtime.
That's not breaking news. We knew it. We knew that was coming.
Oh, poor Larry. Unbelievable. John Luby, wish I could get my mom, but she will not even try the vape. She's 75. She's 2-pack a day, full flavor. John, keep trying. You know, try to find a device that you can match up with. We got this coming out pretty soon, and there's plenty of these on the market as well too. The Endura M18, so easy. You just pick it up and just draw on it. Very, very tight, restricted draw. It's something simple for somebody old like that. Something simple, even just a pre-filled pod system. Listen, I'm not against them. There's situations like your mom at 75 that she could really benefit from that.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we need to do is when you say, hey, have you tried vaping? And they're instantly negative. I think what we need to do is not push, but rather say, why? I'm just curious, like, why are you so anti-vaping? Why are you so negative? What made you feel this way about vaping?
Yeah.
And then have the knowledge to combat what they say to you.
Yeah.
And boy, does this show give you that knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. When I was in Greece, I had a person like your mother, John, that I don't want nothing to do. She didn't want nothing to do with vaping. Like, she's just like all away. And of course, you know, in the setting that we're a bunch of vapors and everybody's using these big devices and all that stuff. And so I said, hey, why don't you just come down to the store and just talk to me one-on-one. I'll show you some stuff or whatever you want to do. You need to quit smoking. You're coughing, blah, blah, blah. She ends up coming down to the store. I show her all the product lineup for the starters that we have inside there, and her eye she's not as old as your mom, okay? She's younger, but her eye gravitated towards the pink 𝗧𝗏 tube. Okay, that's women. That's where her eye went, directly there. She's like, "Oh, that looks really nice over there." I said, "Here, let's take it." I opened it up, put some tobacco liquid inside, 12 milligram, 1.6 ohm coil, went through the whole spiel, 15, 20 minutes before she even let it soak, and all that. And man, she was so anti-vaping, Phil. She took a puff, didn't cough, nothing. Next thing I know, she's vaping like a fiend, like back to back. Like she's like, "Oh, this is great." But long story short, just got a message the other day. I've been here back since when? The end of September. Just got a message back. She wants to help, her family quit smoking and all that, to go down to the store. I think if we go back to that and sit down one-on-one, individually, combat the myths and explain what vaping is and match the right product and the right liquid with somebody, I think we're going to be very, very successful again. Speaking of successful, we hope this product is going to be very, very successful. This is the world premiere. We're going to have some fun now. We did all the serious stuff, so let's have some fun.
We did.
Let's have some shine-a-titus stuff.
Before we do, because I was working on the tutorial videos for this product that we're about to show you today, and in the introduction to the contents of the package, I did put some information in there about the new Innokin extended warranty. Right,
I got that ready to go.
It's not in this video that you're about to see. Right, and I think this is important because I think it's kind of a big deal. Innokin now has a 180-day extended warranty on all of their products if you register the product on their website, right? So, typically you're going to have a 90-day warranty on vaping products, but now Innokin, and I think that's one of the best warranties in the industry.
I haven't heard of a 180-day
outside of like maybe high-end devices, right? But no, I think that's pretty terrific. And if you go, hold on, it's not playing. There we go. If you go back to me here, Dave.
Yep.
So that's the image that he's shown. But if I go to monitor 2, this is the web page, and it's Innokin.com. So www.innokin.com/extended_warranty. And that's it. And here's the 180-day warranty program. And all you have to do is register your product. So kudos to Innokin for that. That's actually something that I've been recommending to them for a while now.
For a very, very long time.
Yeah, right. To extend their warranty. And they've done it. So that's great. I think it's terrific.
All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have this prepped for you guys to watch. We hope you enjoy it. And if any of your questions are not answered while you watch my good friend 𝗵𝗵𝗃 present the Kroma Z, please post them in the chat. Bill will collect them, and we'll try to answer every question that you have. Very, very excited. Been working for a very long time for this. It just happens that, Corona sometimes just puts things out of our reach. So here we go.
Welcome to the family. That's a good boy. That's a good boy.
Can I taste your juice?
Hey folks, 𝗶𝗵𝗃 and welcome to the video. This video is going to be an introduction for the new Innokin Chroma Z. We are also going to find out, because I think we have two outstanding not a contest, so we're going to announce the winners for both of those at the end of this video, and we're going to kick off a new one for a special version of the Innokin Chroma Z, so stick around for that. Okay, so the reason why I welcomed it to the family, because it's the newest member of the Z Coil family, which now includes the original Zenith, the Zenith Pro, the Zlide, and the Z-Beep. So they're all going to use the Z coils. This one comes with a brand new Z coil that we'll talk about in this video. And by the way, we have more members of the Z coil family coming soon. Okay, so what is it where you're going to get it? How much is it going to cost you? This is going to be a pod mod. You know my definition. If I'm calling something a pod mod, that means that it does have a 510 adapter available for it. So yes, this will have a 510 adapter available for it, and it will be available to purchase separately. The device itself is going to be made of a strong yet lightweight magnesium alloy. It's going to fire from 6 to 40 watts. It can fire down to a minimum of a 0.2 ohm load. It has a built-in 3000 milliamp hour battery with a 1.7 amp Type-C charge port. Yay. There's a smart wattage selection feature based on the resistance of the coil that you're using, and there's an external sliding airflow control. The pod has a 4.5 mil capacity. A 2 mil TPD version is also available. It features flip open plug filling without having to remove the pod to fill, and comes with 2 different air rings and 3 different mouthpieces. This is going to come with 2 Z coils, including the 0.8 ohm and the all-new 0.3 ohm mesh coil for RDL or restricted direct lung. And of course, it is compatible with the entire Z coil line. Of course, the device does come in a bunch of different colors for you, including a black, a gray, a white, a lovely Dimitri pink, a midnight blue, and a midnight green. So that's what it is. Now, where are you going to get it and potentially what it's going to cost you? It's a little early in the game at this point. It's not going to release until November 2nd. But I'm assuming that the device is going to be, and the kit that you're going to see in this video is going to be about $40. Okay, so let's do an unboxing and see what you get with the Innokin Platform Series Chroma Z. Okay, you guys, this is the box that the Innokin Platform Series Chroma Z comes in. The box will indicate the device color as well. As we go through this, I would like you to notice that Innokin has changed its packaging again. We've gone to an environmentally friendly packaging, so you won't see any plastic or foam in our packaging anymore, and I do hope that that makes some people happy out there. So on the front, we do see the device. On the side, we do see that this is a Platform Series device with my signature and Dimitri's much better signature. Yes, he will tell me that and you that all the time. On the back, we do get some warnings, we get the contents, and we do get a scratch and sniff authenticity sticker. On the right side, we are going to get the device itself. Here is the device itself. Again, notice the environmentally friendly packaging. This is all done with cardboard and paper now, and no plastic trays. And on this side, we get the Innokin Chroma Z Quick Start Guide, the Safety and Warning Guide, the USB-C charge cable, this bag which contains the spare coil. In this case, it is the 0.3 ohm. The 0.8 ohm is already installed in the device. Again, notice the environmentally friendly packaging, the MTL Precision Airflow Ring, and this bag which will eventually be labeled, but it does include the 2 spare mouthpieces. Now, in the unboxing, I am showing you the gray version, but here's the midnight blue version. You'll notice that the gray version does have the carbon fiber wrap and the blue version does have the leather wrap on it. Now, for our size and weight comparison, I'm going to go ahead and compare the Chroma Z with the Chroma R. In this case, the Chroma R is going to have the Aries 2 LE version on it. So the Chroma R with the tank, obviously taller. The widths of these devices is virtually identical. And you can see that the Chroma R is going to be just a little bit longer than the Chroma Z. Now, the big difference in these two is going to be the weight, because the new Chroma Z is made with the magnesium alloy. So let's go ahead and put the Chroma R on the scale first. This does have a battery and it does have the tank on it. And what we see is 258.5 grams. And then the Chroma Z is 125.7 grams. So the magnesium alloy construction does make a big difference here. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this from the top down. We'll start up here with the mouthpiece. Now, the mouthpiece that is installed does have a narrow bore for mouth to lung, but it is a little bit wide. It might be a little bit wide for some people. So we did include another mouthpiece for mouth to lung. That's going to be a little bit more narrow for you. And then finally, the last mouthpiece that's included is going to be the mouthpiece that's going to be best for RDL or restricted direct lung, and that's going to be the same diameter as this mouth-to-lung mouthpiece, but it is going to have a different bore. Now, again, the tank does have a 4.5 mil capacity. There is a 2 mil capacity available as well for TPD. To remove the pod, you can't pull it up in any way, but the easiest way to do it is to just push it up from the fill port right here. Just push it up like that, and it'll come off nice and easy for you. Now, you'll notice that there are 2 magnets here at the back, and they're going to hold the back of the pod down, but there is another latching system in the front. So when you put the pod down, it might be up a little bit because it's waiting for you to push it down the rest of the way for the front latch. And now it's in place. And I will say there is absolutely no movement to this pod at all once it's in place. Now, again, it is going to come with 2 coils. The 0.8 ohm is going to be installed, and the spare is going to be the 0.3 ohm. The 0.8 ohm is going to be best for your mouth to lung, and the 0.3 ohm is going to be best for your restricted direct lung. Now, the 0.8 ohm does have a suggested wattage range of 15 to 18 watts. I think that's an older recommendation. I think our new recommendation is 14 to 17 watts on this coil. And then the 0.3 ohm is rated from 30 to 40 watts. And you will notice that the 0.3 ohm is a mesh coil. So go ahead and select the coil that you want to use. Make sure you give it a good prime to soak the cotton with some e-liquid and insert it back into the pod. Now, just like with all other Z coil tanks and devices, there is a right and a wrong way to put the coils in. You'll notice the coil does have 2 flat parts. There are also 2 tabs on the pod, so you just want to make sure that they line up. If they don't line up, the coil will not go in correctly. So just go ahead and rotate that coil until it falls into place like that. Now, again, we do give you 2 airflow rings. There's going to be the standard ring that's going to come installed, and this ring will give you from mouth to lung to restricted direct lung, and then there's also the precision mouth to lung ring. This is going to be strictly for a tighter, cigarette-like mouth to lung draw. Both of those rings are going to work in conjunction with your external sliding airflow controller. All the way over to the left is going to be a tighter draw. All the way over to the right is going to be a more open draw. So go ahead and select which air ring that you would like to use. I would recommend this one for a looser mouth to lung to a restricted direct lung, and this one for a tight, cigarette-like mouth to lung. Now, the pod can be easily filled while on device with the plug fill port. And you guys know how I feel about plug filling, but you also know that I do like some plug filling better than other plug filling. And you'll notice here we do have a little flap. You can see that little flap. And that makes it very easy to open this plug, and you don't need a fingernail to do it. You can just run your finger over it, grab it, and pull it open. And once you're open, you can see the amount of room that you have in there to get your applicator. So you have plenty of room to get your e-liquid in while it's allowing air to come out. And it is also nice and easy to close. It's also easy to see your e-liquid level because back here is the floor of the pod. So when your e-liquid gets down here, it's time to fill. On this side, you do see an air intake, some design aesthetic, and Innokin embossed onto the device. On this side, you see another air intake, the same design aesthetic, and Kroma-Z embossed into the device. On the front, you do have your fire bar, your up button, your down button, and your USB-C charge port. On the back, you're going to have your sliding airflow control and either a leather or a carbon wrap. So you can see here the Kroma-Z does borrow its styling from the Kroma-R, including the fire bar, but with the Kroma-Z, we have moved to USB-C charging. The device does have a 3-click on and off, so if you click that and you see that, that's because it's off, so 3 clicks is going to turn it on and bring you into the firing screen. How long that screen stays lit for you is adjustable, and you can adjust it from 5 seconds up to 3 minutes. On the firing screen, you'll see whether or not your device is locked. You see the charge status of your battery, your wattage setting, the time of your puff, the number of puffs on the device, and it does peg at 999 puffs, the resistance of the coil in your pod, and the voltage shown in real time to give you your wattage. Now, in addition to the 3-click on and off, we do have a couple of key sequences here. So the fire button plus the up button is going to give you a more detailed look at your battery, a more detailed look at the resistance of your coil, and your puff counter, which you can clear at this point. And I'll go ahead and do that. Fire button and down is going to lock the device. You can see the lock symbol has changed, and now I will not be able to make any adjustments because it's locked, but it will still fire. To unlock it, fire button and down again, and that'll unlock it. And now I'll be able to make adjustments. So to make an adjustment, you either click and hold the up button or the down button, and it'll start to flash. Once it's flashing, you could go ahead and adjust up or down in 0.5 watt increments. The maximum, again, is going to be 40 watts. The minimum is going to be 6 watts. And this does have round robining, so once I'm down at the minimum, I could click down again to bring me to 40 watts, or click up again to bring me back to 6 watts. With the device turned off, you can click and hold the down button, the up button, and the fire button at the same time, and eventually you'll see probably the revision of the board or the firmware. And then with the device on, I can access a menu by holding the up button and the down button at the same time. And here we can adjust the cutoff and the screen. The cutoff is adjustable from 3 seconds all the way up to 18 seconds. And again, you can adjust your screen to stay lit from 5 seconds up to 3 minutes. Now, like I said before, this will make wattage recommendations based on the coil's resistance that you have in your pod. So right now I have the 0.3 ohm coil in here. Let's go ahead and attach it and see what happens. Okay, you can see it recommended 30 watts. Now, the nice thing about this is if I do adjust this, and let's say I'm enjoying it at 35 watts and I decide that I want to change my coil, or the pod comes off for some reason, and I do put it back on, it will maintain that 35 watts that I've been enjoying. Now, it will change again if I do change the coil's resistance. So now we'll go to the 0.8 ohm. And you can see it set itself for 16 watts. Again, if I'm enjoying that at a different wattage, and I happen to like this one at 14 watts, and the pod comes off and it goes back on, it will maintain that 14 watt setting. And it won't change until you put a different resistance coil in there. So again, the entire front really is the fire button. It'll work anywhere from down here to up here, which makes it really easy to thumb the device, to trigger the device, or to just squeeze the device in either orientation. Okay, so there you go. That's the close-ups. That's how you operate the device and work with the device. I'm going to vape it in 2 different ways for you. I'm going to vape it in mouth to lung the way I have been vaping it, because I'm a mouth to lung vapor. And then I'll switch it over to the other pod and I'll vape it direct lung, or not direct lung, but restricted direct lung with the 0.3 ohm coil, okay? So right now I've got the 0.8 ohm coil in here. I've been vaping it at 14 watts. And believe it or not, I have not been using the precision mouth to lung ring. It gets a little bit too tight for me. We've included it for people who do like a really tight draw, and it gives you a little bit more adjustability on the draw. So I've been using the standard ring. Not a whole lot of room for mouth to lung adjustability, but it's there, okay? So what I usually do is I'll tighten it all the way, and then I'll start to loosen it like this until it's at a draw that I like, okay? So you can see right there, I really am all the way over to the left, but I did move it over to the right just a little bit to give me the draw that I like. Let me turn my fan off here. So this is it, vaping mouth to lung. Digging the flavor, it's Z-Coil flavor. Okay. The draw is fantastic. The throat hit is fantastic. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to vape it. I'm going to go ahead and switch this pod off and take this pod off. And I'm going to put a different pod on. This pod is going to have a 3 milligram e-liquid. It's going to have the 0.3 ohm in it. I have the standard ring. I'm going to open it all the way up. It set itself for 30 watts, so let's go ahead and try it there. Make sure that I have the right mouthpiece on, and I do. And now you get a really good restricted direct lung. And that new Z-Coil doing really good. And you see that I just got my 3-vape rule, right? My 3-vape rule off of that coil with a 70-30-70 VGE liquid, okay? So that's it. As we let the vapor clear, that's it. That's the introduction on the Innokin platform series Kroma Z, the latest member of the Z-Coil family. We hope you guys really enjoy it out there. Let's find out who won the last 2 Not contests and kick off a new one for your very own Innokin Chroma Z. Okay, so for the next Not contest, I said we were going to give away the Innokin Chroma Z. But
should I stop it here?
Special kit here. This is kind of like a limited edition.
Yeah, you know, you can let it play.
Z. So this is what
They could get in on the contest too.
Looks like. This is the special one that's going to be coming your way if you win the contest. The contest is going to be a movie scene. Here's the scene right here. And if you know the name of this movie, what you got to do is get an email to contest@tasteyourjuice.com. In the subject line of the email, you're going to put your first name, your last name, dash the name of this movie right here. And that, my friends, is the end of the video. But I should tell you when this Not a Contest is going to end. I'm going to let this one go until November 4th. November 4th, that's a Wednesday, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you have to get your entries in for this Not a Contest. And that is the end of this video. I hope you found some of the information helpful. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Wow, what a great job. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? It's just like you answered everything. I mean,
guy still does a good job.
You answered everything. I mean, I don't know how anybody would have any questions after watching that. That was just that was done fantastic. I do want to preface a couple of things on the Kroma Z. Obviously, AIO pod type mods are very popular right now. And the reason why, again, we took a little bit longer than everybody else, maybe sometimes to our determination, is that everybody's doing the same. Everybody's copying the 𝗵𝗶 drag, okay? Let's be honest, okay? I mean, we're seeing all the companies put out the same style button screens with all the, you know, everything that's on there. So I think that the direction that we wanted to take is we really enjoy the Kroma. The Kroma R has done fantastic in sales in Europe. Everybody likes to have that side trigger button where they can just pick up the device and just fire it from any angle. You don't have to look for a button. So we wanted to take that and incorporate it into this pod mod AIO. And I think we were very, very successful with it. It looks really good. It's surprisingly light, 125 grams. It's extremely light. Something that we got beat over with a 𝗵𝗶. The 𝗵𝗶 was heavy. So we wanted to stay away from that. I do have the black one here because you didn't show it on camera, but I do have the black one here. I got a little sexy drip tip on it. That's but anyway, here's the black one. I'm using this one in restricted direct lung, and then I have the blue one set up in mouth to lung draw. So if you got any questions, this is an internal battery device. But with 3000 mAh battery, especially in MTL mode, I mean, that gets you way, way, way a lot of vape time. And it's a platform series product. So there might be something else coming that takes an 18650, but it'll be more towards the restricted direct lung and direct lung. But as far as this product is concerned, because it takes the Z coils, there's no Z coil that goes over 40 watts. So it doesn't really make sense for an 18650 battery, right? It matches into the family of Z coils, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to go with internal. And we still think that it can be a very good starter kit. The precision airflow ring, did you make the chart, the draw chart on this? I forgot to ask you that pre-show.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I'd like to see that. But if you look at whenever Phil does that precision airflow chart, you'll see that with a precision airflow ring, you can get a cigarette-like draw off of this, which is very, very important. So you can use a starter kit. It could be like a second device with an AIO if you enjoy the Z coils, and I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that in short term. You're right. I probably should have included that in there.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think you can cut it and add it, because I think that chart that you have with the draw is very telling on the wide range of airflow that we have here. Definitely, this is one of the tightest. You can get the tightest draw, which is one of the big downfalls of most of these pod AIOs. Most of them are direct lung. Even the companies that are putting out mouth to lung coils, you can't get a really good tight draw out of it. But this one, you can get a really, really good tight draw. All right, let me look at the Drag X. Yes, very good device. Yes, that's why everybody's copying it. Everybody's making the same thing. So let me see if I have any questions that I've missed here on the. Hi, Melissa. Nice to see you. Is the 510 adapter a separate purchase? Yes, but it's going to be around $6. It's not going to be expensive. It's just not ready yet. So we had to release November 2nd the entire kit. This kit will be under $50. So you get the device, you get the 2 coils, you get 3 drip tips and 2 airflow rings, and the charger port with it. So the 510 adapter will be around $7 at the most. So it'll be sold separately. It's just not ready yet. Other question. Nope, I don't see any other question. Yeah, we answered everything. Hello, Petro from Greece.
I'm like really trying really hard to do this. Really,
that's okay. That's all right. You don't have to do it right now. You just put it in your video.
Yeah, I like to be complete.
It's just your video. I did have a surprise for the audience today because at the beginning of the show, Phil said something very, very important. You know, we do this show for you guys, and we need help. We need your suggestions. Keep in mind, you know, we've been doing this smoker show that's going on season 3 now, so we have tons of information up there. We don't want to be repetitive. We want to bring topics that you think would benefit smokers or would benefit the vaping community as a whole. So what I'm going to do for this particular episode, since this is the first show in season 3, I'm going to hold a giveaway. You're going to leave a comment in the replay of this video underneath here with show suggestions for the smoker show. And then we're going to pick one randomly and give away a nice prize. The prize is going to be one Aries 2 silver 24 millimeter, one Zenith Pro black, one Slide stainless steel silver, a pack of coils, and boy, you're not ready for this. This is very, very limited edition. You're not going to find this anywhere. Coolfire 4 Plus, a blue one. I mean, these are very, very, very rare. Okay, this is new in box. All right, and never been used before. But what's good about this is that you can use all these tanks with it. Right, this is an all go device. I think it goes up 75 watts if I'm not mistaken, and it's a rare piece. So leave a comment when the replay is over. What would you like to see on the Smoker Show for us to cover? And you're gonna win all this. 3 tanks, Aries 2. Zenith Pro, Slide, pack of coils, and a Coolfire 4.
Awesome. Good idea.
Maybe that will trigger some interaction from the audience. Yes.
Oh, I just read something here. The last thing from Nick. He wants me to make a video about what is a bad vape device versus a good one. I'll say the same thing that I would say to anybody who asks me, what's the best device out there? What's better, this one or that one? What's good? What's bad? Don't know. Because it's subjective, right? Anybody ever asks me anything, puts in the YouTube comments, what's better, this or this? Can't answer that question because it's all up to you. It's all up to the person. It's all up to the individual. You might like a tighter draw, a looser draw. You might like red versus blue. You might like tube versus box. It's all about you. That's why I do the reviews. And that's why they're longer than other reviewers. It's because I'm trying to put all of the information in there to allow you to make a good decision. What gets a thumbs down at this point, like an overall thumbs down or an overall thumbs up, I hardly ever give those anymore. Overall thumbs down is the device failed. It failed somewhere during the evaluation period, right? Or something horrible happened. Overall thumbs up is I can't find any thumbs down. and that's hard to do. But there you go. For the most part, it's subjective, right? There is no best device. There's only a best device for you.
Absolutely. Is Phil losing weight, says Melissa? Yes.
Yes.
Melissa said yes, he is losing weight and he's looking sexy, mighty fine. We're going to be the dynamic, sexy vape bromance duo, but I do look horribly pasty next to you on this camera. That's why, I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's not the camera, by the way. If I was sitting next to you,
I might just invest in a tanning bed. I might just have to do that. Hey Dimi, have you still been using the spray and the hair touch up by chance? No, I have not. I have not put that thing on my hair ever again. Questions. My full show. Thanks guys. Great review as well. Thank you so much. I do want to say when it comes to Innokin, and somebody said thank you for the green finally. We do listen, guys. It's not. I think that me and Phil are probably the only 2 people that actually design products that like really get feedback from the consumers, and we try to relay it. We're not always successful, okay? And it's not our fault, okay? Keep in mind, we don't own Innokin. Just the other day, I got a message from somebody that says, "Oh, do you own Innokin?" There's some vapor reviewer. I don't know. Never heard of him before, but anyway. We don't own Innokin. We just design some products for them. But Innokin does listen. And when we give them some feedback, they try to accommodate. And then we try to find a balance. It's all about finding a good balance between getting your feedback, your suggestions, Innokin being in a position to accommodate that request and make it work in a commercial space. We can't create a product just for one person.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
And we don't always get what we want.
Absolutely. It's true. So we try to do.
And by the way, that is very frustrating to me, and Dimitri will confirm that.
Yeah, because we're vapors. People can understand. Like, we vape these products every day. It's not like we just make them for a quick buck and go away. We try to help people quit smoking, and we try to do the best that we can because we use the products as well too. So it's frustrating at times, but you have to understand the commercialization of the products as well too. They're not just sold in one person or one country. It goes across the board. Wholesalers should be need to be able to buy it, and then vape shops need to be able to sell as well too. So there's a little bit of a fine balance there that we have to navigate. But overall, listen, I can't be more proud working with him. And boy, do we have some nice surprises coming up here. It's been delayed with COVID, but things are getting back to normal now in China. So you're going to see some really, really nice surprises coming up, and something with 18650 to satisfy, Steve's request as well too.
And 21700.
And 21700 too. Yeah. Don't give it all away.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, don't give the farm away. Any questions? I really want a real purple pink color. I want to give girls pretty things. The pink is really nice, and it's a pink. It's that and the white. The pink and the white is that what do they call it? Metallic. In the paint. It looks really nice. I mean, it looks really good. I think women would be attracted to it, or anybody that likes pink. Actually, it doesn't have to be women. But the pink came out really, really good. All the colors came out good, I think.
It's not pink.
It's champagne pink.
It's a lovely Dimitri
pink.
You got to do it the right way.
You
got to sell it.
I broke everything.
So Nick wants to know what a good combination for a smoker is, like a Marlboro. Do you have anything to show on camera? An example of a liquid, please. To know what a good combination for. So
don't you have what's 𝗶𝗀𝗀 there? You have 𝗶𝗀𝗀?
Huh?
From Lunar Rover?
Yeah. That's actually the liquid was easy. I'm thinking about the device because I mean, really, any of the platform devices.
Yeah, anything that says platform on it.
We talked about today. With the
𝗓𝗔 is excellent.
The 𝗧𝗔. This is a good question because it's a question that I thought was going to be asked of me on the show that we did today for One Shot Media, but it didn't get asked, right? And they said, why something like this over a pod, right? For a new vapor, why something like this over a pod? Here's I'll say why, right? Because first of all, there's no settings, there's no adjusting. It automatically reads the coil, and it does a pretty good job of setting itself, right? So It's trying to get a average good vape for the most amount of people, right?
Yes.
There's that. Filling, right? There's, I talk about plug filling all the time. It could be sometimes a little bit messy, maybe, right? I think the plug filling is done really good on the Kroma Z, but here you slide it open, right? And now you can fill it. Changing the coil. To me, that's a big one. I even wrote an article for the Innokin webpage about like when I love a device. When do I love a Zenith versus something else, right? And it's when I fill it, because it's super easy to fill, right? And when I change the coil, because changing the coil on some devices can be a messy process, right? On Zenith and 𝗧𝗍 tanks, it's a clean process because you just kind of unscrew the bottom, right? You take the coil out. With the 𝗧𝗍, you don't want it to be full. With the Zenith, you can do it that full, and you throw the coil away. You prime a new coil and you throw the coil away. Now, the key to this is I haven't used any paper towel. I haven't used any tissue. I haven't used anything, right? But that coil is in my hand, and I have no liquid on my finger, right? And I could go ahead and I'll put this back in now, twist it until it falls into place, put my ring back on. So I just changed the coil in theory. No paper towel, no mess, no nothing, right? And I think that's key.
Yeah,
I think that's so important, and why I would recommend for a beginner, right, something like this over maybe a pod. It's a neater, easier, cleaner thing to work with. As far as liquid, you want to take it back, Dean?
Sure.
I got my sexy what do you call it, shorts on.
Nobody wants to see that, trust me. Hi, Janine. As you can see, I got your lovely portrait behind me here. So thank you so much. I really, really enjoy it. You did a fantastic job of capturing the sexiness that is the vape bromance duo. Who else is 521-700s from Kangaroo? Yes, that's coming soon as well too.
So you said that they were using a Marlboro, right?
Yeah.
So for a Marlboro, I'd recommend an 18 milligram. And these are former sponsors of the show, Lunar Rover. They do a really good tobacco flavor. So this is what would you say? I think the gold would be
GLD.
Right. Yeah, the GLD. So there's the GLD, and then there's the black. So let me ask you this, Nick: do you have a smoker that you're targeting? Let's let him answer while we banter on.
Okay. Speaking of banter, somebody asked if you found a motorcycle yet, because you were looking for a motorcycle, and I actually found something for you on Amazon. I'm gonna send you the link if you want to order it afterwards. Look at this little 3-wheeler. You like LEDs? Look at that. It's got LED on the wheels. It's pretty cool, and it's only $199. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
What's the weight capacity on that there, buddy?
I don't know.
Read down. Something tells me that I'm not going to be able to drive that. What, does it come in a pink version too? Oh, no, that's
a different one. Yeah, but yeah, you should get a bike.
I am losing weight, but probably not that much weight.
What's up, 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹? Nice to see you, buddy. All right, so, yeah, go ahead. What were we saying? Oh, we're waiting for Nick. Yeah,
I'm watching.
I think he was talking about his wife. He's tried vaping in the past, and he kind of gave up on it. Now he's back on. He said he's tired of smoking again. So, so he smokes Viceroy 25 cigs a day or less, and his wife smokes Marlboros, I'm assuming, because he asked about his wife earlier. But I think no matter what, a good tobacco liquid, and I'm going to tell you, the 𝗫𝗵𝗃 is so underrated. The fact that it adjusts wattage is something that a lot of people, again, it's just the mentality of vapors. Like people that review this stuff, they don't really care because it's for beginners. But the 𝗫𝗃 has been very, very effective for me in grease and converting smokers with a 12 milligram e-liquid. Very heavy smokers, I would suggest you go 18, but I would also suggest that you get a bottle of 12 as well too. I mean, you're talking about making an investment of $40, $50. It's going to go a long way. And it's something that I think that if you get any tobacco liquid and put it in that tank with a 1.6 ohm atomizer, you're going to have the greatest chance of getting somebody to quit smoking. And inexpensive compared to some other stuff that's on the market. All right, we covered it all.
Do you have any more questions?
I have a friend who I got a Kroma Z Zenith. Can't get him to keep using it. Well, Keith, you know, I mean, if people are not ready to quit, I don't care what you give them. You can have 𝗵𝗵𝗃 go to their house and fill their tank every night. They're still not going to. If people are not ready, nothing that you're going to give them is going to use it. So we've talked about that many times.
That's something we talk about all the time. You got to be ready. So I started vaping back in 2009, right? I think everybody knows that by now. It was a very, very easy transition for me. This was with an 18 milligram freebase, and by today's standard, some really shitty hardware. And I was able to quit that day. The first time I put it in my mouth, that was it. It was, game over. So considering that I was able to do that back then, right? And considering how much better the technology and the liquids and everything is today, if you can't quit, you don't want to quit.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
Right? There's no excuse at this point. It gives you the flavor. It gives you the smoke, the fake smoke, the vapor. It gives you the throat hit. It gives you the nicotine. It gives you the hand to mouth thing, right? If you can't quit today, you don't want to quit, period.
Absolutely. Question. You go first, Phil. What would you two like to see happen in 2021 for the vapors out there and with the vape industry also?
I would like to see somebody buy tasteyourjuice.com for $5 million. That's what
And by the way, we negotiated. I get 17.5% of that. It was a tough negotiation. Have you ever seen Pickers, folks? We went through a Pickers negotiation on how much I would get. But
no, actually, we should actually tell the story.
Right? Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was approached to do a collaboration.
You don't have to say what company it was.
What's that?
You don't have to say what company it was.
Okay. So I
want to get sued.
So to do a collaboration with a company, but that company happens to be Big Tobacco. So I sent the message over to Dimitri, and he's like, ask for $1 million. I said,
of course. Why not? They can afford it.
I was like, go ahead.
If they can pay $27 billion to these motherfuckers in states, they can afford $1 million for people started.
So that's what I did. I wrote about, a nice little message back, and I said, I'll be happy to do it for you for $1 million, and sent the email. I haven't heard a response yet, which is obvious, right? And then Dimitri says, I get a percentage. And I just got done watching American Pickers. So I said, what percentage do you want? Like, he started, where did you start? You started some ridiculous high number.
I started at 30%, I think.
Yeah, and I think I started at 10%. We wound up meeting at about 17. It was exactly 17.5%.
17.5%. Yes.
17,
As you can tell, I'm the business manager, obviously, so I got to get a cut out of that for sure. So what I want to see for 2021, I mean, I want to see the industry survive. You know, that would be ideal. I want to see less states banning these products, but I'm also a realist. I think 2021 is going to be the most difficult year for vaping. If you think we've had tough years, you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse. So it's more up to us now, the vapors, to build this community again like we did before via the internet, via, you know, these shows, and keep the community going and bringing new people in one at a time. It's going to be up to us, folks. I have a lot of friends in this industry, some that I adore, some that I absolutely hate, but even the ones that I hate, I don't want to see them go out of business. But the reality is that a lot will.
And that's one of the things that bothers me too, especially the OGs. When the OGs go out of business, that bothers me, man, because it's like they were part of creating the industry, and I would say most of the OGs really kind of cared about conversions too, right? I mean, that's why most of the guys, you know, got involved in it. That's why I got involved with it, because I cared about getting smokers off of cigarettes. And when you see an OG go out of business, it's like, man, that just sucks, because you got somebody who was responsible for creating the industry isn't able to see it to the end, right? And I think that's really sad.
Yeah. Hey, Red, nice to see you, buddy. I agree, Dimitri. The dip kit is also really good, but I got the guys to work, the work crew with a slide kit and 18 milligram MTL. Standard and non-salt nicotine liquid. Every one of them now is a vapor. Yes, the Adept is good. It's just that it's box, and you know, some people just don't. You know, don't. Does the question? Okay, first of all, I'm being reminded to leave comments on the YouTube video, not on Facebook or Periscope. Okay, so for the prize that I'm giving away, leave comments on YouTube, and then we'll pick a winner randomly next week. Question. Did you send this question just to get me mad? Brad, does the Aries 2 do direct lung, or is it just MTL?
Is that really a question?
If it is a real question, I'm going to tell you it's an MTL atomizer. It's not designed for direct lung.
Yeah, that's why it says MTL on the bell.
It says MTL on the bell. It says it right there on the bell. Aries 2 MTL RTA. So you might be able to get a very loose very tight restricted direct lung out of it, but it's not recommended, because you don't want to build too low on that too. It's not designed for that. It's designed to get a good mouthful of wet saturated vapor in your mouth and then swallow it. That's what it's designed for, and it does it very, very well.
Oh, that was hot.
It's trying to be descriptive as much as possible. The OGs that sell out bother me. Yes, Keith, that's it's part of the game. You know, some people do that, and they build a company and they turn around and sell it. And we had some people that were very close to us that, but the guy that feel really introduced to the vape world with the vapor flask. What is that he made, Charlie? Oh, he sold. He's out. Never hear from him again. He's a nice guy, but that was his business plan, and he achieved it. And God bless him. It is what it is. It's just part of the business.
You know, it may make you mad, okay? But you imagine somebody coming to you with $2 million and saying, "I would like to buy this from you. You have to go away, but I'm going to hand you $2 million." Okay?
Yeah,
I can tell you, right? Proudly, if somebody were to do that to me, I would say thanks for watching, and I won't see you again soon.
but it's one thing you do. You know, I would definitely. I mean, depending on the deal, but I would definitely entertain it, and most likely would sign it because it would secure my family and all that. But I would be more open about it and say, hey guys, look, no hard feelings, but it is what it is. And I think if it's done right, I think anything that involves financials in the vaping industry is like a taboo subject. Like nobody wants to talk about it. But the truth is that all these guys like me and Phil that grew up in this industry eventually became commercialized because we had to. We didn't have a choice. There's no way we can operate a full-time job or run a restaurant like I did, or Phil work a full-time engineer job and travel 130, 140,000 miles a year. Impossible. So you do get into the commercialization, but to be transparent about it, and this is what we do. to think that we're doing this show because we sell products is ridiculous, because the amount of research and time that we spend into these shows has nothing to do with, yes, today we had that because it's a new product and it's a world premiere, and I think a lot of people wanted to see it, and Innokin sponsors the show. But again, I think that the commercialization of vaping is only natural for all the guys that started into it. When you see people that didn't start into it and come in and blow it for all of us, that's really what's the frustrating part. Okay, try the 𝗷𝗶𝗃 with salt, Nick, 30 milligram with pod for beginner. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know why you're dancing around the salt thing, but you can try it with salt, or you can try it with 12 milligram freebase, whatever works for them. But either or will work. That's not a problem. And the 𝗷𝗶𝗃 is a great product.
It really is. I was really surprised and really shocked at the draw on this one, because I was expecting kind of a loose draw like the original 𝗬𝗏, right? But the because it's a different draw depending on the way you put the pod in. You put the pod in one way, the draw is actually just a little bit tighter than the original 𝗬𝗏, and you put it in the other way, it's a cigarette-like draw. So I was really happy and extremely satisfying at a 12 or an 18, right? I can vape this all day long at a 12 and be satisfied. So, I know there's people out there that just got to have, high nick, kind of like back in the day when you needed more watts.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, very interesting. There was one more comment that I wanted to touch on. It will do a very restricted DL. Yes, absolutely. Bill says, not me, I won't sell out. Well, good for you, Bill. Nobody's criticizing whether you would or not. That's not the point of this, but I should be very proud of that. But 𝗍𝗶𝗃 would take the money. I guarantee you she would. She would have new nails every day if she was. Every day.
It's easy to say you won't sell out until you have that contract in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's been a great time. See you, Keith. I think we covered everything. We're done. We did it. I was hoping to have a short show today because this weekend I'm going to go up to Murphy, North Carolina. I think it's called Maggie Valley, North Carolina, with the motorcycles to visit a motorcycle museum. It's supposed to be like really interesting. So that's what I'm gonna do this weekend.
Nice. So you're taking like just long motorcycle rides?
Yeah, it's just like through the mountains. We don't get on the highway. We take the back roads and hit some twisties. And this is a 3-hour drive, so we're gonna break it down into 2. Do an hour and a half, stop somewhere, have lunch, and then it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Enjoy that. I've got
that's what I'm
a whole bunch of videos to make.
Yeah. Another question in my DM. Oh boy.
Yep.
Does it do MTL? Is that the question again?
Does it take Z coils?
What is the #2 best-selling unsalted line e-liquid? That, of course, is the wonderful
Blueberry morning.
Mentholated cool citrus.
When I say
mentholated cool citrus.
When I say
that's the number 2.
One, yeah. When I say it's the #1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line, it makes it sound like we're selling a lot.
I know. It's like we got millions of bottles. Secondhand vape on newborn. Look, I mean, don't blow the vape into the baby's face, but just being close to in proximity, there's no harm. There's no secondhand vapor. It's not gonna harm. But obviously, don't just go over the baby and do like cloud tricks and stuff like that. That's what I would suggest. Are there buildable tanks out there that are direct lung? Oh, plenty. Intake, RTA, Zeus, plenty really good direct lungs that are rebuildable. And go look at Mike Vape's channel. He does a lot of RTAs. Vaping Bogan.
Dare I say at one time, most rebuildables.
Yes, most of them. Well, they used to be, not anymore. Now there's tons of MTL stuff. Mike Vape's put an MTL RTA out.
Oh, did he really?
Mm-hmm. God. So there's tons of the MTL is making a comeback, baby. It's the new black. Programming note: next Tuesday, DP show, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you've never caught a DP show, it's just like this, just dirtier. But it's a little bit more advanced. So if you want to check that out next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, that's all I had to say. Phil, anything that you want to add?
I have nothing else to say at this point. Go ahead and leave those comments in the YouTube video or the YouTube comments, so that we can give Dimitris' prize away, but also come up with some new ideas for the Smoker Show, because we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot of information. It's been, this is episode 1 of season 3, so you can imagine some of the information that we've gone through. We may go through some stuff again, because I think it's important, especially as smokers join us, right? But yeah, do that, please.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll see you again next week. Please like and share this video. It really helps the algorithms. And if you haven't subscribed, I mean, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't subscribed, give 𝗃𝗵𝗶𝗀 a nice subscribe, a little. That's all you gotta do. Just click on your mouse, and we will see you again next week. Have a wonderful evening.